Hello and welcome to another tale straight from the heart of the Jakuls, told exclusively by me, Brumble. Hooray! Tonight I will perform at my utmost to weave the shape of this story better than all others. So grab a snack, settle in, get all nice and comfy. For this is Tunnel Trials. Warren scrambled away from the fang-toothed maggot, easily as big as his own small body. He kicked at the hissing beast as its clacking teeth scraped together with each clamping bite, making a sound not unlike a blade against a whetstone. He wriggled further into the dimly illuminated hive of dens, caves, and passages, crawling with all the speed his tiny limbs could drive his small frame onward. Warren breathed a sigh of relief when he spotted a large stone, and shrieked in fright as it began to squirm while he hefted it and pushed it into the opening, receiving a cut on his arm from the beetle. Thinking fast, he pulled his belt knife free, stuffing the hungry steel into the face and midsection of the creature repeatedly. "I'm the only one small enough to get it," Warren reminded himself. "They're counting on me. I must push onward. I have to find the right mushroom for Mama." He glanced around, judging his options. The hard-packed earthen walls glowing faintly blue and green wherever patches of fungus suckled upon damp spots. He picked the widest of the openings, not wasting any more time with his indecision, darting right down it as he crouched low while walking, his knife held at the ready. Warren kept his wits about him. He'd need them for the challenges up ahead. Warren slowed his furious pace to rest, remembering his father's words. "Don't rush to your own untimely demise down there, my boy." He moved off further down and away from scuttling hordes of legs. He wanted nothing to do with that particular path. Warren came to another in a long series of crossroads, infinitely winding pathways. This place was a maddening mess of choices that led no place in particular. "Remember your training," he heard his mother's soft, assuring voice in his own mind. He gazed up at the ceiling, marking choices with roots showing through their tops, and chose the path with the least invading plants marring its surfaces. He had to wind deeper than he was, and down he went. After a series of turns, the boy found himself at an impasse. A slumbering giant worm of some sort, pulsating as as its heart slowly thumped in vicious blood throughout its body. He held his knife aloft, gathered his courage, and struck a mighty gash into the slimy, rough skin of the beast. It thrashed and whipped its body in response, waking up and attacking in any direction it thought might help its current predicament. Warren dashed back, dodging from the assaults. There he waited, knowing from his lesson, were his aim true, he'd soon see the results. All too soon the spurting blood and flicking body settled into utter stillness. Warren tested his prey by throwing loose rocks pried from the ground around him. It had died. He celebrated but kept his jubilation brief. Who knew what monsters would be attracted by the rotten stench of such a creature's bowels? He pressed onward, picking tunnels and roots based on all the vast knowledge he'd harvested from his parents and other tutors. He had to be fast. They needed him. Warren worked ever lower, winding back and forth through the endlessly curving burrows. Near a dozen times he hid from larger, more fearsome beasts in small nooks and tinier crannies. For the first time in his short little life, blessing his small stature and the advantages that it brought him. Seeking the next cave and avoiding any danger that he could, until he came upon it. A slow but drastic alteration in the glowing fungus. Red, burning bright, gleaming. Completely unnecessary. His jar of glow fungus essence had become. So he covered it back up. Too much light might get him discovered. Warren didn't want that. He had little idea what he would find in the lowest caves of this maze. But he pressed forward. His family was counting on him. Until he heard the low, near shrieking howl of a mighty beast indeed. It reverberated through the layers of earth around him, shaking and quaking his body as it called out in terrifying cries through the labyrinth Warren was stuck within. He hesitated, knowing it might be too much for him. He didn't recognize this monster from any of the calls his grandfather had taught him. He couldn't think of anything from the vast compendium of knowledge his father had made him memorize. But Warren had to persevere. He had to accomplish this task that no other member of his family could. It had to be him. And so, with shaking limbs and tension-racked nerves, The boy strode forward into the large cavern beyond. A limb whacked the hand gripping his knife, easily knocking it from his grasp. All too soon a clinging net shrouded the boy, hauling him up to a black fate swallowed by the darkness at the cavern's ceiling. He struggled and thrashed to no avail, knowing his end was all too near. My boy, my boy. Warren eventually calmed at the insistent urging of his own father. Dismayed at the thought that they too had been somehow captured, he stilled his flailing limbs and opened his eyes, stunned to shock by the smiling faces of his entire family and so many more of the townspeople behind them. His father released him from the net and hugged his child, holding the boy up for all to see. My boy! My courageous child has passed the first trial in record time. A chorus of cheers erupted from the truly massive cavern he suddenly found himself within. Welcome, child. Today you cease to be just that and begin on the path to manhood. His father bellowed, followed by yet another glorious chorus of cheers. You showed great knowledge, fortitude, and cunning in this, the first of many such tests. What do you have to say for yourself, my boy? I'm alive! I'm alive! Lauren shouted, eliciting a sea of laughter from the gathered throng. What? But how? Enough, Warren! He who would walk the trail of men. For now we feast upon my son's 7 kills! Another cheer answered Warren's father's proud announcement. And so it is, we've come to the end of tonight's tale. I hope you enjoyed it. This is my favorite one by far. I memorized and did my best to tell it true. I have been your fantastic host, Brumble, and this was Tunnel Trials. Good night, everyone. Leave your comments down below. Like and share to help us grow. And feed a hungry Brumble. That's me. And as always, we encourage each and every one of you to stay safe out there.